Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business. Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.
Hi there, Roger Pascal here with Real Impact. I am the CEO of Real Impact Training Systems. We welcome you to our weekly call. This week is going to be phenomenal because we're going to talk about rentals. We're going to talk about property management. We're going to talk about how to run your rental business. We got a series of experts on here tonight that we're going to bring on board in just a minute. So we have several locations throughout Texas and Louisiana. I'm sorry, in Oklahoma. We don't have Louisiana yet. We have more coming on board. We are your local experts. So that's what our business is built on, is we have locations in various areas. And if you want to invest and you're looking to invest, you need to be working with people and working with an REI group that is a local group to you. So with that in place, if you come and you become a participant in our free meetings, you're going to learn the local people. You're going to learn how to find the local money, how to find all the local service people that you have, what part of towns that people are investing in, what they're looking for, the experts out there, whether they be realtors or money people, private money people, hard money people, 30 years mortgage people, all through that area there. We're going to have that for you. So in addition to our monthly meetings and our monthly workshops, our locations, which are run, they're all independently owned. We call them Impact Master Trainers, or we call them IMTs for short. They're going to be the people out there that are going to bring you additional added value. So we have various workshops. We may have a breakfast on a Saturday where we're networking out with other people and you're getting to know other people out there. You're able to use their experience and their wisdom to help you grow your business. So if you're interested in learning more about real estate investing and how this process works and who the players are, then you need to reach out to our Impact Master Trainers. We have some on the call tonight to help answer questions on there. We also have a chat button. So if you're on Facebook, just put the message in Facebook on this live production. If you're on YouTube, a chat window will pop up if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then you can ask questions on there. They'll come up on our screen and we can answer questions. Tonight, we'd like to limit most of the questions to the subjects that we'll be talking about. One is property management and smart property management and how to make that happen. And we have some upcoming events that Karen's going to talk about. You can ask questions regarding any of those that we have. So on the YouTube channel, if you click on the links below and go to our website, realimpacttraining.com, there in the middle of the screen is our tab on there for our locations, and it will give you a calendar in there, and it will tell you what our upcoming meetings are, our live meetings that we have for each location every month. So you don't have to, you never on this call, you're on here on Sunday night to get your answers. You don't have to wait till the next week. You don't have to wait if you have if you subscribed to a mentor that you can only talk to once a month or something like that. You don't have to wait for that. If you're one of ours, you can call us anytime, working hours, that is, but you can give us a call and our work hours go pretty late at night. So you can give us a call, let us know what you got. So if we could go ahead and bring up Karen and Eric on our deal. Karen Maxwell. Karen is the owner of the Real Impact Plano, and she's also in corporate sales. If you're interested about learning how to train other people, learning how to build your own location, learning how to build your dynasty in real estate, I guess the best way to put that. So you want to reach out to Karen on that. And then we have Eric Short. Eric Short is Impact Grand Prairie, Texas. Both Plano's in Texas too. So Impact Grand Prairie, Texas. And Eric's a longtime investor, and he has the Impact Grand Prairie location. And then myself, I also run the Impact Lindale Tyler, East Texas locations that we have out there. So with that and all that good information that I just passed on, Karen, I'm going to throw the ball in your court.
All right. Sounds great, Roger. Thank you so much. Do we want to talk about the getaway? Do we want to talk about Cancun?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, we just got back from that. I'm still pumped with that. I mean, that was the best one we've ever done.
I'm so glad. I felt like it was, I came back. I was exhausted. Don't get me wrong. I was absolutely exhausted. I came home and passed out about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon and slept so good.
Wait a minute, CJ, can you throw some pictures up there and kind of run that?
Yeah, we'll run through some pictures. It was absolutely amazing. Roger, how many did we have? Was it 68?
We had 68 investors, 80 there total. Some of the spouses aren't investors, and they had a few people that have some kids with them. So, but we had 68 investors in the room.
Oh yeah, there's the, yeah, we had a great time. We did excursions. Some of us went on a yacht. Some went parasailing, some went deep sea fishing. Did you guys get out and do anything, Roger?
Oh, absolutely. We went and saw some of the Mayan ruins out there, which are was absolutely fabulous. And then when we were leaving, Linda Jean says, next year when we go, I want to do some zip lining. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I will do that with her.
I would have. Today's my anniversary, 30 years with Linda Jean.
Happy anniversary, Linda Jean.
Thank you. And I would have never guessed that she would have wanted to go ziplining. So I'm excited about that. I'm all over that. I used to do bungee jumping and some other things out there that were pretty stupid but a lot of fun. So but I would have never believed that she would have wanted to do ziplining.
I will leave bungee jumping to you. I didn't care for that at all. And I am all about, I'll try anything once, but I've done it one time, and that's all it took. But did you guys rent the boats? No, it was Renee and Doug.
No, that was Renee and Doug. So
y'all did that last year, right?
We did it last year. The speedboats that we went through the mango areas and out into the ocean, and there was a two-person speedboat. We had a blast. They weren't overly, they weren't 100-mile-an-hour speedboats, but they were pretty fast. They were a lot of fun, and going through those mango areas and whatever they're called. The
jungle
areas, the jungle. They call it the jungle tour.
Yeah,
they call it jungle tour. And then there's some snorkeling with that and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did enjoy the snorkeling last year, or in the previous years. Eric, what about you? What did you think about the Mastermind Getaway? This was your first year to go.
It was my first Mastermind Getaway. I've been to Cancun before, and it's a great experience even without the other realtors and real estate investors hanging out with you. When you go by yourself, it's a great time. But when you go with other like-minded individuals, it's amazing. I didn't have to go very far before I ran into one of the investors that I hadn't met, that's not local, that I got to know better, share information with. It was really good. These pictures just don't do it justice. Some of the pictures of folks sitting in the circle really got a lot of good information out of that. Just talking about the various things and various aspects of investing. It was really good. It was really, really good, and I'm already ready to go next year.
We just want to stay there.
And,
Eric, would you go ahead?
Karen, I just want to throw out there, I think a lot of people don't realize that this is a business trip with a lot of pleasure in it, and it can be your business trip too. So if you're curious about that and wanting to go, you can talk to your tax expert about, hey, what if I go to a real estate investment seminar out of the country? How can that affect my taxes?
Exactly.
How can I take advantage of that and use that as my stimulus check, if you want to put that into place?
Right.
So that's something you really need to talk to your CPA about, or your bookkeeper, and you'll be pleasantly surprised how well that works for you.
Yeah, my CPA, Ed Guerrero, down in San Antonio, he says, well, I wish I had it with me. I had it. Oh, wait, here it is. Hang on. It says, it's a bracelet. And it says, well, go see Ed, and then how can I deduct this? Wait, you can't read it. Anyway, it's a bracelet that says, how can I deduct this? So that's what he preaches on that all the time. Like, hey, like, is that deductible? I would dare anybody to question us if we didn't talk about real estate the entire time that we were there. You don't even have to count the number of minutes that you talked, because it was nonstop. We were on that yacht tour or the yacht trip, and we talked about real estate investing the entire time. So I do want to throw out, if you're interested in going with us next year because you didn't get to go this year, or if you went this year but you want to go next year as well, make sure that you CJ is going to throw the link in the chat. Is that what you're going to do, CJ? There it is right there. If you'll click on that link and fill out that form, I will email you as soon as we get it scheduled for next year. So Norma is Dennis Henson's wife, Norma Henson. She works extremely hard to get us a block of rooms at a very good rate. And then they have to coordinate the meeting rooms and all this other stuff. And I laughed and told everybody that they were like herding cats, just trying to get their flight information to make sure they made it safely and know when they arrived at the resort and get them checked in and everything. And it really was. It was like herding cats, because it was such a large, you said 80 people, right, Roger? So we had 40 rooms basically.
Right.
Somewhere around there. So
And
it's crazy.
They were all coming in from different places. So
different places. They didn't all come in on the same flights. They did not come in from the same cities. We had people as far. I want to give a shout out to Stephanie and John Ionati that are in Fort Myers, Florida. And as soon as they got home, they had to batten down the hatches for the hurricane. They survived, but it was tough. And I think they're still without electricity, water, very, very limited cell service. So we'll pray for them. We are praying for you guys. And we had people from Georgia, Chicago. We had Randy Hughes from Chicago. And then all over Texas, and plus our group from, I think we had 8 people from Oklahoma City.
We had people represented 6 states in that.
6 states.
In our investors. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Arkansas, Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, Arkansas. Yes, yeah. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Illinois. So it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. So if you would like to, you're not committing to anything. If you fill out that form, I will email you once we get the new the dates for 2023 decided and scheduled, and we open it up for reservations.
I was talking to him earlier, and he said it's usually around this time of year.
Yeah. I know that every year that I've been, it's been September or October. So, and then now when I went in the past, it was a lot more expensive than what we've been able to get. I mean, she has, when I went with Dennis's mastermind getaway, I know one year, I think we paid like 3,000 and one year, maybe 2,500. But it just depends on what kind of deal Norma can negotiate for us. And it's absolutely fantastic. I wish I still had my gift bag together that of all the freebies that we got. We got an amazing gift bag. I'm going to put my turtle up on my shelf with all my souvenirs. But it was great. It's absolutely great. So if you want to go next year, let us know by filling out that form or reach out to any of us. Throw it in the chat that you're interested and we'll get you added. This year it was last year it was $9.95 and then went up to $11.95 or $1,095. I can't remember. So we have a block of rooms at a set price. And once those sell out, then she has to go back and get more rooms and the price can always change. And then when we sell out and we're full, we can't open it up. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you get your tickets in advance. And we also had a lot of last minute scrambling trying to get all the gift bags, make sure we had the right amount to take with us. And so it's great. Absolutely amazing. And it was $1,095 this year. And then it went up to $1,175, I believe it was. Is that right, guys?
Somewhere around
there. Yeah. And that was for 2 adults and 2 children under the age of 2.
12.
Yeah. Okay. And then last year, well, it was the first round was under the age of 12. And then the second round was 2 adults and 2 children under the age of 2. Yes. So we never know. It's just whatever they can negotiate at that time. So it's always better to act faster. So.
Absolutely. Right. I just cannot tell people that we're not there how great that was, how exciting that was, and the relationships that we build. Every year we do this, we build relationships that last forever. So we will sell out again this year. We've sold out last 2 years. So we'll sell out again in 2023.
Absolutely. I mean, 5 days for $1,000 basically can't be fat. And just the networking that occurred. And I mean, we're talking talks by the bar, talks by the pool, in the pool, on the yacht, in the mastermind room. We only had 2 meetings that were 3 hours long, but those conversations that were started in the room continued after the fact. So,
look at some of the comments in the chat session. Ruben Gonzalez said it was awesome. We really enjoyed it too. So just check out that some of the comments out there. But yeah, Ruby and Eddie had a blast.
And their girls
are so great, huh?
And their girls had a blast.
They had 2 daughters with them, and they were just absolutely phenomenal. And the oldest took care of the youngest and did a great job. And no broken bones or anything. So everything was good, right?
Yeah.
Unlike my brother and I. So,
I'm going to take my kids next year. So I'm going to.
Are you? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I told them I would take them. So.
No. All right. And Terry Lynn Chase. Yes. Zip lining. We'll get together on that. We'll have a whole group of us go to zip lining and that'll be a lot of fun.
It's a deal. It's an excursion already decided. We're going zip lining next year. So
absolutely.
I did make a decision though. I will stay an extra, at least 1, if not 2 days. My roommate Pam and I discussed that. We said we really needed another 2 days just after the fact to just relax and reflect, decompress. Like we didn't have a lot of times I go to masterminds or to meetings, like events like that, and they're 3 or 4 days long, and it's like 9 to 5, boom, 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 boom. Then go shower and get to dinner, and then boom, 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 and you just don't have enough time to relax. But ours was all about relaxing and networking, and it was everywhere I went. I was just constantly talking about real estate, and I really wish that I had 2 more days.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Absolutely.
Put me on your calendar, Norma. Okay. So, all right. That's now we do have our website, mastermindgetaway.com. If you want to go back and look at anything for this year, I think they may have changed it over to get pre-registered, not pre-registered, but just to say, let us know that you're interested in knowing about next year's. So we hope to see you there.
All right.
Okay, so let's get into our questions. Okay, so this is the way we work this. If you have a question about anything that we're discussing or a question of your own that you would like to have answered, tonight we're talking about property management, smart property management. And feel free to drop your questions in the chat. So you'll have to, if you don't know how to do this, there's a box that says live chat right below our pictures down here somewhere. And if you'll click on that, then that'll open up all the chat and you can read the questions that other people are asking. And then you can also ask your own questions. And then I will hopefully see them and get them answered live tonight. So we're going to kick it off with Eric. Eric, what are some, I'll say, creative ways that we can avoid evictions with our tenants?
Creative ways to avoid evictions. It's always best to keep your tenant in there. Even if you raise the rent after they're gone, it takes months and maybe years to make up the amount of time that the property was vacant while you were looking for another person, or the updates you had to do. If you can keep a tenant happy and keep a tenant in there, that's usually the better plan A. I had one tenant where she was late getting the rent to me one month, and I got in touch with her. I said, okay, is everything okay? Rent is really, really late this month. She said, yeah, I'm having a rough month. I've got to make some money. I'm going to sell my truck. And once I sell my truck, I'll be able to pay you rent. And a light bulb came on. I said, really? What kind of truck are you selling? And she and I talked about it, and it turned out that that truck covered 1 month's rent, and it's still my work truck today. So by being creative and not being stubborn and saying, I got to have cash, I got to have the check, I was able to keep her in the house and in a truck. So that was pretty creative.
So that brings, thank you so much for that. So I'm glad you have that truck and that you got your rent paid essentially. So let's talk about that for a second though. When you have to go through an eviction, about how long does it take? In Texas, I'll go there. In Texas, I know I can get an eviction done in less than a month. In most of in all the areas that I've managed properties in, but if your rent's $1,000 a month, and you have an eviction, so you're going through an eviction process. So now you're losing that additional month's rent plus however long they're behind on their rent to begin with. If you didn't start the eviction process immediately, yeah. So if you lose $1,000 rent and you're charging $1,000 a month, how long is it going to take you to recoup that $1,000? Right?
Yeah.
That's something to think about. So that's a very good thing that you did. But like you worked it out. She was able to bring her rent current. You got a truck. Yep. She got to stay in her house. You didn't have to, like you said, go in and clean it, paint it, and everything. Get it ready. What do we call it? Get it turned. Get it ready to rent for the next occupant. Ready. Yeah, make ready. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, that's great. I'm glad you were able to avoid that.
It worked out well.
And Karen, let me throw something out there. I've done tons of rent houses, and I've never had to go all the way through an eviction.
Really?
Okay. I feel that I'm very good at communicating with my tenants. I've offered them cash for keys, essentially. I've offered to work out programs with them and to see, maybe let's kind of table this. We're gonna have some late charges on it, but your tax return's coming in 30 days. Let's work it out through your tax return so we don't have to have you leave. Let's work it out with you on whatever manner it can be. And I've had tenants that were grateful for that, and they moved out without any issues. They would take most of their stuff, if not all of it. And that's part of the deal. I'll give you some cash for keys, but you need to leave it broom clean. I don't want to be moving a sectional couch. I don't want to be moving a wardrobe or anything like that. And I've had them come back to me and go, there's just no way I can move this couch. And it was a single lady that told me that. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'll get somebody to do it. You've done everything else. That's perfect. So that's just like Eric did with his tenant. It's communication. Don't immediately go in there and try to cause a conflict. Don't immediately bow up your back and be the aggressor. Say, what can I do? What can we do to solve this and to get you to where you need to be and get me where I need to be?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
I was just going to jump in. Part of being able to have a good outcome at the end when the tenant moves out or avoiding an eviction, it's not so much in a creative way. I had one renter that eventually I was able to avoid an eviction, but I had to convince her to move on down the road. It was my fault because I didn't do really good due diligence on her background. I went ahead and made an assumption that because she worked for the post office, the government, that they, had a background check on her. The government would see that she was, in good standing and someone who could be trusted. I mean, come on, it's the post office. This was, of course, 20 plus years ago. And so my naivete, sure, she's got to be a person of good character. Well, about 6 to 8 months later, I found out even the background checks that the government does don't cover everything. So do your own due diligence to avoid possible eviction down the road. That's what I have gotten from that.
Absolutely. That's actually a great point. Do your due diligence. If something seems off, dig deeper. Don't sweep it under the rug. I had a girl that told us one time, she called me, she said, oh, but I've already talked to the owner and he says I can rent this property. I need you to send me after the lease and I need to come pick up the key. I have the U-Haul loading up and I'll be there in the morning. And I said, you haven't even filled out an application. And she said, well, how do I do that? And so I sent her the application and said, just fill it out and send it back to me and I'll do my best to rush it. And she told us that she made like $10,000 a month. And so I asked for her bank statements. I'd never asked anybody for their bank statements before ever. And I asked her for her bank statements and they were all negative. And I was like, I saw one $10,000 deposit. And I said, so I see one. Can you provide the others? And she said, oh, it was just the one. But she'd obviously blown through that money. And we ended up not, then she didn't want to, her boyfriend was going to have to co-sign and he wouldn't agree to co-sign. Yeah. It was just crazy. And so we avoided that. But, I want to say, Dennis, whenever I went to Dennis's property management course and I went home immediately and got on the website and downloaded, which is realimpacttraining.com, by the way. And it is a paid site. If you want to have access to this stuff, you do have to pay for that. I think it's $4.95 to sign up and then $49 a month. I think you get 3 or 4 months for the $4.95. Can't remember exactly. But anyway, I went home and I downloaded all the policies and procedures. I downloaded Dennis's lease. I downloaded his application. I downloaded everything, anything that he had on there. And we took the lease to our attorney and there was only one thing that he wanted to change. And I can't remember, something about the appliances. If any appliances were in the property when the tenant moved in, if they stopped working, that we weren't going to replace those. So we only provided, according to the lease, one window AC unit and then the stove and refrigerator, something like that. But sometimes he would leave a washer dryer or they would have multiple window units because not all of ours had central air and heat. And so in order to protect ourselves, number one, they would take them out of the windows and then break them. And then we would have to replace the window units, which is all kinds of stuff that would come up. But those were things that we wouldn't have thought about. But Dennis had already experienced those at some point. So he had that in the lease. And so we talked to our attorney, and he said, "Can I have a copy of this?" And I said, "Absolutely, go ahead." But it was great because Dennis has the policies and procedures. He has the lease, and the one that I always stuck to. For number one, I self-managed 70 properties, and I did this from 2.5 hours away. So I wasn't able to, run over and fix something so super simple like changing a light bulb. Never did anything like that. But I was able to successfully manage those because I had policies and procedures in place. And I know you guys said like do everything that you can to be able to keep the tenant in the property to avoid that vacancy. But what I did was I had a good relationship with all of our tenants. And so they would just call me or text me and say, "Hey, I'm going to be late paying rent this month. I'm going to pay on the 8th. How much am I going to owe?" So I had my spreadsheet out and I would tell them exactly how much their late fees were going to be. And yeah, that's fine. This is how much you need to pay. And then on the 5th, late notices would go out. And we would send those 3-day notices out on the 5th via email. And then we would also go post them at the property and have them sign or stick it on the inside of the door. And they would get upset. They would call and say, "We have an arrangement. Why did you give me this 3-day notice of eviction?" And I said, "Oh, it's fine. That's just policy. That's just the way we run our business. As long as you keep your payment arrangement, we won't file the eviction. But if you don't pay on the 8th or the 15th or whatever day that you told me you were going to pay with your late fees, I'm going to be filing that eviction." So they knew that we were serious and this is how we ran our business and this was the policy, and they just didn't balk on that. Now, granted, we had some that paid late every single month, and they paid a heck of a lot of money in late fees, and I couldn't understand it, but that's their choice. And I didn't mind the extra cash, but whatever, their fault, but their choice. But we did keep them in the property.
Yeah.
So, and I'll get to a little bit more of that later. So, okay, let's see here. Next question, Roger. What is the most common thing you run into working with landlords that have issues with their tenants?
Number one, bar none, communications. There's so many people out there. If you're going to be a landlord, you need to be very, very good at communications, and not the aggressive communications, not rent's due in a week. Are you going to pay or not? Don't do that kind of stuff. Be very, 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 listen to your tenant. Sometimes they do have challenges in life. They have a spouse that may be sick. They have a child that may be sick. You want to listen to this. You want to listen that they want a place to live. Every creature on earth looks for shelter. Okay. So that's why the rental business is so good. But I've had people that I've coached that have just been terrible at communications. They never answer their phone. They never respond back. They never reply back to text. It is really a crazy. When I look at it, I'm like, what were you thinking? What would you think the best case scenario would be when you have one toilet that has not worked in 6 months and you're not doing anything to repair that toilet?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with that? So it's communications. If you've got something out there and it's not being done, you need to communicate with your tenant to explain to them why it's not being done and what you're doing about that to get it fixed. Otherwise, they're just sitting there, and then they have a spouse, and their spouse is like, why isn't this being done? They have coworkers. Well, I'd sue your landlord because, and that's what they're getting feedback from. So you just communicate. I've had a lady that I worked with that had in a 4-bedroom house by a college, and they were only paying half rent. And it's because her air conditioner had not worked in 6 months. And, I'm like, well, get the air conditioner fixed. Well, I can't because they're only paying half rent. I don't have the money to do that. And so she was in a catch-22, but I told her, you got to figure out a way to get money. You got to not go on that vacation. You've got to quit eating out or quit having 2 Starbucks a day or whatever it may be, but you've got to get that air conditioner fixed or you're going to lose your tenants. And then you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to probably put in new carpet. You're going to have to freshen up paint. You're going to have to make that house make ready. You're going to lose a month's rent. And it's going to cost you a lot more than just having the air conditioner fixed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I run into is lack of communication, lack of a plan, and getting the wrong people in there to start with, like Eric said a while ago, assuming that somebody looks good, somebody sounds good, they have the right story. Have a good background check. You'll find out the address they gave you is a friend's house, and the AAA screening and these other screeners out there, they'll find that stuff for you. They'll find they've lived in 5 apartments in a year and a half, and they bailed out on rent on all 5 apartments or something on that basis. But communications is where it's at.
Absolutely. I fully agree. I had one time that it was a banker's stepdaughter. And because we wanted his business, we didn't even ask him to fill out an application. Basically, we just went ahead and approved, or we didn't run a background check. We did have him do an application, but no background check, because we were going to approve her. Obviously, it's a banker's daughter. We want to do business with this bank. He basically was paying us to keep her away from him. Oh, wow. Yeah. It was a nightmare. Her sewer line backed up, and we put her in a hotel. We were actually going out of town, and we said, we called the hotel, and we arranged I have a tenant that has this emergency situation. We have to get her sewer line fixed. It's going to take a few days. We're going to pay for her. So I gave them my credit card number, and then, I don't know, 2 days later, they called and they said, ma'am, you're going to have her out. We have to have her out. I've never in my history of my experience working at a hotel have I ever had to evict someone from the hotel. It was terrible. She was pregnant, and she was obviously on some kind of medication of some sort. It was passing out at the breakfast table in front of all the families and everybody that was there, doing illegal substances in the room, had her dog there. I had to apologize, and we had to pay for it. And they did escort her out. And then she called us asking us, what did she do? And I said, what do you want me to do?
I've already done all this.
Yeah. What can I have done everything that I can. What more can I do for you? You're going to have to call daddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so she was gone. Yeah. It was terrible. But that was a good story. It was everything seemed good, but we didn't follow our policies and procedures.
Was she the cause of the sewage backup, you think?
No, it was not her. That was our contractor. I got that taken care of too.
There's one show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If a contractor tells you that they're going to go ahead and bury the line, it's so they can get paid, and the city hasn't inspected it yet, there's a reason. Don't do it. We didn't pay him, but the sewer backed up within just a few days, and that was why, because he had done it improperly. So I know city inspectors get a terrible rap, but they are there for your protection and the protection of the people that live in the home, that are buying the house or renting the house.
Yeah.
And they absolutely busted it wide open. They had just improperly installed it. So trying to get one over on me. And it didn't make sense, because it was the same price. I mean, wasn't like it cost them any more to do it correct versus incorrectly. So I didn't. Anyway, paid a nice plumbing company to come in and redo it, and it was all done. So that was great. All right, next question. Let's see. Okay, creative ways. When you're buying a property, that is creative ways to raise the rents when you're buying a property that's already occupied. Now, I will have to start with this. If they are in a written lease, we do have to let them fulfill their lease or offer them something in exchange. So, Eric, you got anything on that?
I'm thinking I'm going to let Roger take this one.
Okay, Roger, you got anything on that?
Well, a lot of times, as you were saying, Karen, it's kind of give and take. And I bought some houses one time, and three of those houses. Yeah, three of those houses were from an individual property manager. The seller that I bought them from had a property manager on there. And so I had two of the tenants. I went to go see all three tenants. So the first one I looked at, she worked nights. He worked during the days. So she was asleep during the day. And she says, a couple of times I've woken up and the property manager is standing at the end of my bed. And he's like 95 years old. Okay. And they said, we're moving. And I said, well, I will remove that property manager. I self-manage my own properties anyway. And we're going to put a keyless deadbolt on the front door and set up the back door and the garage door so nobody can get in if you're in the house. You can lock yourself in and nobody else can get in. So I go to the next house, and it was a single woman that had two teenage daughters. And she says about 4 times in the middle of the night, she'll wake up and the 95-year-old property manager is standing at the end of her bed.
Wow.
And I said, and she was going to move. So both those people I got squared away, they weren't moving. And then the third one I went to, I said, how do you like this? And they said,
did they complain that the property manager was going up?
What's that?
Did they complain to the property manager?
They did not. They didn't know what to do. So the third one said, best property manager in the world. He's great. Just went on and on about how great he was. And then it came out that he was her grandfather.
Of course.
So we got rid of the property got rid of the property management. We put in the keyless deadbolts. We secured the units up, and they stayed. Those two that had a problem stayed for about 3 years after I bought the lease. Wow. And I did tell them when I bought the properties, your lease expires on this date, because I had all the leases. And I said, your rent will go up by X dollars. I think it's about $100 a month. And they didn't have a problem with it whatsoever. Now, the one that was the daughter or the granddaughter, they moved out pretty quick, and they told me that they were building a house. So it worked out very well on that. But I just told them, here's what we've got, and here's what we're going to do is we're going to have to raise the rents because you're under market now, and we're going to raise those by $100 on your date that your lease expires, and we'll renew that lease. So that's what and once again, it's communication. It's looking to see what they wanted rid of that property manager. Yeah. Easy to do that. Okay. Real easy for me to do that. So I've had other things. I have offered to have the carpets cleaned, and I've done that when I bought properties and their existing tenant in place. Also all my tenants, I work to make sure they're very happy, and I'll, if they're, current on the rent, everything is good. I like to see the properties in December, to walk through and make sure everything is good, take some pictures, and I will give them a $25 gift card to Chili's or Applebee's or something like that. And they're just ecstatic. My landlord gave me a gift card. Nobody does that. Yeah. So, but carpet cleaning is my big deal. I will have those I want them cleaned anyway, but I will have those carpets cleaned very often. Sometimes I'll have the AC serviced just because I know they're not changing filters out, something on that basis. Yeah. But that just saves me money because the air conditioner doesn't go out later.
Now you do December visits, you said?
I do in the middle of the month. I don't do it at the beginning of the month or the end. Well, at the end of the December, they're busy with Christmas and all that. Yep. Beginning of the month, I don't want it to sound like I'm there to collect rent.
Right.
So, and I'll make an appointment. I'll tell them, hey, I'll be there. Here's the week that I would like to come into your properties. This is when I'm going to be in the area. I've got other properties in the area. Can we make an appointment that you're going to be there at 3:00 in the afternoon or whatever it may be? Could be 6:00 in the evening.
So you do them just once a year. I've ran into a couple of the investors at the Mastermind Getaway that do them quarterly.
Right.
That seems a little frequent for me. Once or twice a year seems to make sense to me.
Well, and all my properties, I work with my tenants to buy those properties from me owner finance. Yeah. So I've got tenants that paint their own houses. I've had granite countertops put in houses that I didn't pay for. I've had new cabinets put in, air conditioning duct systems put in, because they're buying the house. So they take care of it like their own.
They're becoming homeowners, and so they're treated.
They are, and they're buying their homeowners, and it works out really well. on that basis. So Karen, do you do property visits, or how do you do that?
I never really had to do property visits. We did have an issue with like Section 8 tenants. So we did accept Section 8, and they were all Section 8 already would go in and do a physical like walkthrough and alert you to anything that was going wrong. They would alert the tenant, hey, like there's crayon all over the walls, and this is, hey, you have a leak on this toilet that's making your water bill higher. It was things like, it wasn't like they were checking on them, but they were trying to help them. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people that are on Section 8 are typically young mothers that don't have the knowledge on running a household. I won't say a lot, several. I'll just put it that way.
Sure.
So it really was a service that they were providing to them. Because I had girls that were living in these houses that had central air and heat, and then it would put work in it, and then it would say, well, have you changed the filter? What filter?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we learned, that you gotta do that good tenant orientation, show them how to change the filter in the house, show them how to unjam the garbage disposal, things like that. Because they simply don't know. Sure. I mean, I didn't know how, whenever I first had my first garbage disposal, I didn't know how to unjam, push the reset button on it. And just sometimes just helping somebody understand, like my house, my current one, it's in the ceiling. So I have to climb up on a step stool to open it to change the filter. And some are, in a closet underneath, they're hard to get to, what have you. I mean, there's just every one of them is different. But they would go through, and I like that. They would go through and do a home site inspection after the fact. And they would make notes of everything for me and send it to me with their report. Like, hey, we noticed this, this, and this, and this. And we've already let her know that when she moves out, she's going to be responsible for this. And it let us know, like, hey, we need to follow up. We need to keep an eye on this. And but they would also let us know if there was anything important, like a broken window that would be hazardous. Someone could cut themselves, they could sue us. But we also worked really. You mentioned communication, Roger. Communication is so important, and a lot of times the tenants wouldn't want us to tell housing what we found if there was an issue. But if we get a letter from the city code inspector that there is anything, like if city code mails you a letter, they're usually giving you a deadline to take care of it. So for instance, mowing the lawn, or what was that, a couch in the front yard, and trash piled up, and just, whatever, the neighbors are complaining or what have you. And so we would look at the letter, and I'd send it to them and say, hey, them and the housing authority, whichever one they were, we had a couple of different ones. And we would say, hey, we received this letter from the code enforcement. We're going to be there on the day before. So they would usually give 10 days or what have you. So we would give them 9 days. And the city was going to charge them $100 or whatever, charge us $100. So we would charge the tenant $110 the day before. So they could take care of it before we had to send somebody out there, or we would send somebody out there to mow the lawn and then charge them that $110, which was more than what the city would charge. But the city was going to put, that was going to go against us.
Right.
And was it going to look well on us? So we never wanted that. And plus, you don't want to go to closing and have a judgment or a lien against you for $110. So we tried to do that, avoid that at all cost.
Yeah.
Another thing that we did, we bought portfolios. So sometimes we would buy a property that had several tenants that had staggered lease endings and things like that. One, I don't know how, I still to this day don't know how it happened, but the tenant's lease expired, and they were paying I don't know, something crazy, like $5.95 a month. It's stupid. And when we closed, so we had the property under contract, and we did our appraisals and everything, and did everything and got it purchased. And then we got the leases, and I said, oh my God, she just re-signed a lease with 2 of these tenants for the next 6 months for $5.95.
Yeah.
It was just an oversight. I already had the leases. I knew that we had 2 that were expiring. I didn't think at any point that she was going to re-sign those leases. for the same amount. So what we did was we went into each, I think it was 3 duplexes. So we had 6 units, and we went in and talked to each of them and said, hey, we're the new owners. And by the way, you do know that your rent is below market rent, and we are going to be raising your rents when your lease expires. But just to give you something to think about, what is a good amount that you can afford that's not going to put you under duress? Because $595 for a 2-bedroom was absolutely ridiculous. And I think we took it up to $850, maybe $9. I can't remember. So we were raising the rent quite a bit, but they were paying way under. And what is it?
You were able to rent it that much because you were communicating in a respectful way.
Yes. And what would you like to see done to your unit to feel like you're getting your money's worth?
Exactly.
We were already replacing the roofs and the windows and painting the exterior. So that was taken care of. No problem. One lady wanted ceiling fans, and one of them, she just had some things that were broken. Her boyfriend had kicked in the back door, and she just wanted us to replace the back door and make it more sturdy.
I thought you were going to say she wanted you to replace her boyfriend.
Well, can lead a horse to water,
Yeah.
but you can't drown them. Yes, you can. Anyway,
Yeah, she could go meet a bunch of contractors at a restaurant.
Yeah, that happens. So anyway, but that was just about communication. We were going to do it anyway, and it brings value to your units.
Yep.
So it's increasing the value by doing those things. So instead of having, we could have unsuccessfully bought those units or bought that portfolio and had a huge vacancy rate. Like if we went in and they all moved out.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And then another one that we bought, the rents were like $450 a month. It was the 2-bedroom houses, super cute. Or maybe it was, anyway, it wasn't very much. And we needed to go up to $750 because we already owned properties off the street and we knew what our rents were. These were just well under rent. And we asked them, we said, yeah, we know this is going to go up like $300 a month. We're going to step it up for you. So each month you're going to pay $100 more. So you're paying this much this month, and next month it's going to be this much, and next month it'll be this much, and this is where it's going to stop. But what can we do to your unit to make you happy with staying and make you want to stay? And one of them just had a roof leak for years, and all it was that around the pipe.
Flashing.
The boot.
The boot.
Yeah.
Now, it needed a new roof regardless, but it wasn't in our budget at that time because we were buying these 3 units. So we just replaced that, fixed the leak, and then replaced his roof for him once we got around to it. Yeah. But he had been there for 18. I bet he's still there. I think he had been there for like 18 years. And we didn't want to lose him. He was the best tenant ever. Never paid late, always paid on time. He was great. But they know when they're getting really low market rents, they know. And they also know they can't go somewhere else and get it cheaper because you are inflating the rent. You're not. You're just trying to get a good rent rate of return.
Right, because it's our job too. It's how we feed our families.
Garbage disposal. The plumber's best friend.
Yeah, there you go. I saw that.
Somebody. I read something. I was reading a discussion today on Facebook, and they said they just take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't have any garbage disposals in any houses that I own.
We were about out of time, but I wanted to finish with this one real quick. We had a dishwasher wasn't working. I think that's what it was. And it turned out that the sink was stopped up because she was pouring grease down the trap, down the sink. Mm-hmm. And the boyfriend, who was not supposed to be there, said, I tell her all the time she's not supposed to do that. And the plumber sent us a picture of a solid line of grease that he got out of the heat trap. So it's terrible.
There you go.
Guys,
all right.
That's it for tonight.
We have a subject 2 coming up.
We're going to talk about subject 2, our announcements. We have a big event coming up in December. We have a very special guest. His name is Roger Pascal. Not sure if any of you have ever heard of him. Oh, he's right here.
Oh, yes.
Roger's going to be coming to all of our many of our locations in December of this year, and he's going to be talking about subject 2. The dates for the individual meetings and the weekly meetings are a little different. So I'm not going to talk about those specifically, but it all leads up to the big event on the two big events. We're going to have one in Hurst, Texas, and we're going to have one in Addison, Texas. And the cost of the all-day training, you're going to get, is it 8 hours, Roger? About 7 hours?
It's about 7 hours, a little over 7 hours.
Plus lunch is included. And I'll let you tell what all that's going to include. But real quickly, you can go to realimpactevents.com to buy your ticket. These we will have a cutoff and they will sell out. So make sure if you want to go, you go ahead and sign up. You have an opportunity to go to Hurst on December the 10th and then Addison on December the 17th. And the cost is $349 a person, or $349 for the first person. And if you want to bring a friend, it's $149. So for less than what, $500, two people can go. So go find a friend to go with you. But if you bring a third friend, they got to buy a new ticket. So $349. Roger, what are they going to get for that?
Well, for that, they're going to get of course, they're going to get one of my books, the Subject 2 book. They're going to get a workbook that I put together. It's a complete workbook on here, and it goes completely through the whole lesson. And we start at page 1 and we end up at page close to 100. And we talk about all the various things that are in, there we go, that are in this. And then they will be getting a thumb drive that we have in place. So they'll be getting a thumb drive with all the documents that you need to facilitate your Subject 2s. It's going to have the various contracts that we have, the addendums. It's going to have scripts in there. There's over 50 items of value that's just going to be in the thumb drive itself. And when you go through the session that we have, the classes that we have on those 2 Saturdays, and it's just one Saturday. So you pick whichever date's good for you. You don't go to both Saturdays. You pick the location and the date for you. realimpactevents.com. We'll have a drop-down menu on there. It's already there. And you'll just pick where you're going to have it from, which location you want, and which location you associate with Impact, with Real Impact. So if you're a frequent person that goes to the Grand Prairie, you're going to pick Grand Prairie. If you're Plano, if you're Longview, if you're Oklahoma City, whatever. These have been very successful. I have a great testimonial that will probably play between now and December on these calls from a gentleman named Tommy. He had not done a Subject 2. He went to one of my Saturday classes. In the next 12 months, he purchased 25 properties on Subject 2. So that's
he literally just popped up at our event last November, a year
right,
ago, almost a year ago.
We had our first break, and he said, "Hey, I need to tell you something." And I said, "What's that?" And he says, "You remember me?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I came to your class last year, year before, whatever it was." And he said, "This is what I did." So we got a great testimonial on him that is that we'll be playing on the Sunday night call, and it is a phenomenal class, if I say so myself. I've gotten rave reviews out of it, and we teach the literally the nuts and bolts on how to do a Subject 2, how to market for people, how to find the houses, what to say to people, how to get them to walk away from the equity of their property, how to let them understand that they're going to remain on the mortgage, and you're going to have the deed in your name or your entity's name. And it is, once again, it is I'm really excited about these classes because I see the results that people get out of these classes.
Oh, and we're going to have dinner the night before. If you,
we're going to have dinner the night before. We're all going Dutch, but we're going to have dinner the night before, and we're going to talk about. We're going to network. We're going to talk about Subject 2s. We're going to network. We're going to make all that happen. So, very excited that we're putting that in 2 weeks straight, two Saturdays in a row, which is phenomenal for me. And
Thank you,
like
Roger.
I said, we're going to make this happen.
That's right. So, like Roger said, go pick the dates you want to go, either December the 10th in Hurst, Texas, or December the 17th in Addison, Texas. We're going to be at the Quest Trust Building in Addison, and in Hurst, we're at the Convention Center. So if you went to the Alan Cowgill event, it's the same building that we had then, that we ran then. And then pick your group affiliation. So your group affiliation is the group that you normally go to. So that's it. What you got?
Right.
What you got, Eric? What you want to say?
Oh, they need to pick Grand Prairie.
Oh, you need to pick Grand
Oh.
Prairie. That's what Eric's saying. He's just saying, pick
There
me,
you go.
pick me, pick me, pick me.
That's right. Well,
Now,
very good.
we do need to know where you come from. So,
Yeah.
if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 903-445-6023. That's my cell, and I do answer it. Feel free to text me if you want to. That's 903 is my area code there, CJ.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hot dum dum dum. That's the wrong number. 903-445-6023.
All right. So thank you everybody for being on here tonight. Next Sunday night.
Next Sunday night,
we're-
7
we're-
p.m.
7 p.m. We're going to be on board. So love to see you on there. People change out every week. We have different questions. We have different subjects. So look forward to seeing everybody. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions in the meantime, call any of us, go to the Real Impact website and pick locations and find who we are. You can get our numbers on that too. So reach out to us.
Absolutely. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, CJ.
Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business. Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.